3. Jai. Number 1, row 1. Row 1, row 1. Sorry, row 3, 3. Yeah. Jarada Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauramita Jaya Gauramita Jaya Gauramita Jaya Gauramita. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva. Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramamsa Pravijkacharya Stotis Divine Grace Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. BBT Samstaka Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramamsa Pravijkacharya Stotis Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanta Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. वृंदावन मथुरा गोकुल द्वारका धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुर धाम की जय. नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय. गंगा में यमुनामयी की जय. भक्तिदेव तुलसी देवी की जय. सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरि बोल. All glorious assemblies, all glorious assemblies, all glorious assemblies, all Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rugadamayyam Dadati Stapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagada Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanitaya Cha Jagadityaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamalini Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya Yamadivya Chavisundaraya Tasmai ma prema rasa pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya namo namaste Chaitanya Chandraya namo namaste Chaitanya Chandraya namo namaste Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Sikshartameka Purusha Prana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradari Kripam Badiraham Tvam Prapadye. Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Balaramdesh, we invite all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam session. So today we will be reciting from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2, verse number 32 to 35, and we will be concluding the chapter. Beautiful name of the chapter, Daksha curses Lord Shiva, and we need actually blessing all the time. Hare Krishna. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna, verse number 32. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham. Satam Vartma Sanatanam. Satam Vartma Sanatanam. Vigarhyayata Pashandam. Vigarhyayata Pashandam. Daivam yo yatra bhutarat. Daivam yatra bhutarat. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham. Oh. Hare Krishna. Hare. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham. Satam Vartma Sanatanam. Vigarhyayata Pashandam. Daivam yo yatra bhutarat. Hare Krishna, we have 4 shlokas. So one shloka for Prabhu, next shloka for Mataji, like that. One time, because 4 shloka we have to cover. So Prabhu's one devotee can recite. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham. Satam Vatma Sanatanam. Vigaryayata Pashandam. Daivam Yat. Hare Krishna translation. By blaspheming the principles of Vedas, which are the pure and supreme path of saintly persons, certainly you followers of Bhutapati, Lord Shiva, will descend to the standard of atheism without a doubt. Hare Krishna. Maitreya Uvacha. Maitreya Uvacha. Tassevam vadata shapam. Tassevam vadata shapam. Bhrugosa Bhagavan Bhavaha. Bhrugosa Bhagavan Bhavaha. Nishkrama tata kinchid. Nishkrama tata kinchid. Vimana iva sanugaha. Vimana iva sanugaha. Maitreya uvacha. Tasyaivam vadata shapam. Bhurgosa Bhagavan Bhavaha. Nishkrama tataha kinchid. Vimana iva sanugaha. One Mataji, please. Maitreya uvacha. Tasaivam vadata shapam. Bhugosa Bhagavan Bhavaha. Nishkargama tata kinchin. Vimana iva sanugaha. Translation. The sage Maitreya said, please tell loudly. The sage Maitreya said, when such cursing and counter cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became very morose, not saying anything. He left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples. 4 to 34. Tepi Vishwasraja Satram. Tepi Vishwasraja Satram. Sahasra Parivatsaran. Sahasra Parivatsaran. Samvidaya Maheshwasa. Samvidaya Maheshwasa. Yatrajharshabo Harihi. Yatrajharshabo Harihi. Tepi Vishwasraja Satram. Sahasra Parivatsaran. Samvidaya Maheshwasa. Yatrajharshabo Harihi. One Prabhu. Depi Vishwasraja Satram. Sahasra Parivatsaran. Samvidaya Maheshwasa. Yatrajharshabo Harihi. Translation. The sage Maitreya continued, O Vidura, all progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years. For sacrifice is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord, Hari, the personality of Godhead. Please repeat this last sentence and also please make a note of it. This chapter may be Daksha curses Lord Shiva, but that is not the essence of this chapter. This is the essence. So I'll repeat again. Please repeat after me loudly. The sage Maitreya continued, O Vidura, all the progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years. For sacrifice is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord, Hari, the personality of Godhead. Verse 35, the last verse. Aplutya vratam yatra. Aplutya vratam yatra. Ganga Yamunayan Vitha. Ganga Yamunayan Vitha. Virajena Atmana Sarve. Virajena Atmana Sarve. Swam swam dama yayustatah. Swam swam dama yayustatah. Aplutyava vratam yatra Ghangayamunayanvita Virajenatmana sarve Swam swam dama yayustatah. Aplutyava vratam yatra Gangayamunayanvita Virajenatmana sarve Swam Sandama Yayustadaha. Translation. My dear Vidura, carrier of bows and arrows, all the demigods who were performing the sacrifice took their bath at the confluence of Ganges and Yamuna after completing the yajna performance. Such a bath is called Avabrita Snana. After thus becoming purified in heart, they departed for their respective abodes. So that is the last verse of the chapter. And because 4 verses, we'll just take essence of a purport for today's class. Basically, we will speak on the importance of the curse. Hare Krishna. Om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militamena tasmai shri guruve namah. Namaho Vishnu padaya Krishna presthaya bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Prabhupada. Nama Acharya Padaya Nithaya Kripa Pradayane Gaura Katha Dayana Grahamatari. Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharin Nirvishe Shunyamati Pashayate Deshatare. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Mukham Karoti Vachanam Pangam Langayate Girimet Kripa Tamahamande Paramananda Madhava Vancha Kalpataro Bhasya Kripa Sindhu Chapaditanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmanitaya Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namah Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandana Chananda Gopakumara Govindaya Namo Namah Govindaya Namo Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. So we are concluding the chapter today. I'll take a small purport, portion of purport from Srila Prabhupada for verse 33, which Srila Prabhupada writes there. From his Lord Shiva's point of view, he did not see anyone as lower or higher because he is a Vaishnava. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Pandita Samadarshana, one who is perfectly learned does not see anyone as lesser or greater because he sees everyone from the spiritual platform. So this is Prabhupada's conclusion about the curses and the counter curses being exchanged between number 1, who was the number 1 to start with? Daksha. Second, Nandishwara. Third is Bhrugumuni. So we will see that how this curse we can see from the spiritual point. Like curse is easy to see from the material point, but who are all involved here? One is Daksha. Is Daksha is an ordinary person? Daksha is not an ordinary person. So here in this, when we, the very beginning of the chat, second verse, it says that, so this is Lord Shiva's greatness, but before I come here, so Daksha, Lord Shiva and Bhrugumani, so first we will take, because my slide is for Lord Shiva, I will take Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is actually, what is mentioned about Lord Shiva in this chapter? He is the spiritual master of the entire world and is free from enmity. is a peaceful personality and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. Greatest among the demigods. How is it possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality? Because Daksha, Lord Shiva is great anyway. He is Vaishnavam Yata Shambhu, and leader of, he is the spiritual master of the entire world. Why is the spiritual master of the entire world? Everybody knows this answer. Why? Because he has got a sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya from Lord Shiva, which can achieve Krishna. So he is the spiritual master of the entire world and is the greatest of all demigods. And Lord Shiva is married to here Sati. Sati, her father is Daksha. So Daksha cannot also be an ordinary person. And Daksha, who is Daksha actually? He is son of Lord Brahma. He is son of Lord Brahma. And when Daksha actually, when he entered the assembly, what the shloka says, fifth verse, he says, when Daksha, the leader of the Prajapatis, entered the assembly, his personal bodily luster as bright as effulgence of the sun, the entire assembly was illuminated, and all the assembled personally became insignificant in his presence. What does that mean? Who were there in the assembly? The 4 shloka we read. Who were there? All the progenitors of the universe. Who is progenerators means? Who are empowered for increasing the population. Now just take this. And when he entered, who was there in the assembly? Who are the important personalities now we are talking about? Lord Shiva was there, Lord Brahma. There is no higher demigods. So when he entered, even they become insignificant, this verse says. Assembled person became insignificant. Now, that is Daksha. And Bhrigu, let's discuss about also. Bhrigu, and who is Bhrigu actually? Krishna says, Marshinam Bhriguram Giram Asmi, what is that? Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam Yajnanam Japa Yajnam Stavaranam Himalaya. He says, of the great sages I am Bhrigu. So Bhrigu's, what is Bhrigu's greatness? What we understand is Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhrigu was actually appointed by the great sages to test among the 3 predominant deities, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, who is the greatest. He was selected. So Krishna says, among the greats I am Maharshi Bhrigu, and if this Bhrigu is selected as the greatest Brahmana, sage, to test these 3 personality, we can understand how much great is exalted position, because he must, otherwise one cannot be appointed to these 3. They are predominant deities of the material universe. You cannot put somebody cheap, less than them. They, a inspector, a test or examiner must be much more than the students who are taking. So he is that great personality. So he has got, Bhrigu is the compiler of the Bhrigu Samhita, which is the Jyotish Shastra, is one of the Saptarishis, and selected by the great sages to check who is great among actually Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Now, when we come this point, that means if these 3 personalities, Daksha, Shiva is not there, Nandishwara is there on his behalf, and Bhrigu, these 3 great personalities, if they are engaged in the cursing and counter cursing, what should be the understanding of this? Can they act like a marketplace, cheap people? Can they curse? They will not do. Why? Daksha is a leader of the progenerator. See, what is the meaning of progenerator? Means like a father, a parents. Can they misguide their children or their children? No. So Daksha is being the progenitor. That means he is the leader of all the generation which has to come. If he set a bad example, how the population will be, which is created, his descendants, how it will be? It's a condemned. So he cannot do that. Now next is come Nandishwara. Nandishwara is the associate, it says, is the follower of Lord Shiva, is the carrier of Lord Shiva. Now, what is the follower means? Like we are followers of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada is the follower of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's go to the tale. So, what is the duty of a follower? And so, a bona fide follower is the one who will exactly do what his master wants. So if Nandishwar has spoken the words, the curses, is that curse should please or displease Lord Shiva? Or how it should be supposed to be? Huh? Supposed to be pleasing. That is why Lord Shiva quietly kept. He did not say anything. You know, when Lord Vishnu, when he came and Jaya Vijay was cursed, what did he say there? He applied, not only he applied, what he said, I will cut my arms, but I cannot be separated from my associate. That much the master will have the love towards his disciple. So here, Daksha cannot actually, as a Nandishwar, as a follower, cannot say something which is actually displeasing to Lord Shiva, or it is against principle also. Now comes Bhrugumani. Bhrugumani is such a great sage. He is a Maharshi, Brahmana. So can he do anything like that? He also cannot do, because he is a Brahmana. Brahman is one is situated in Brahman, who is above the bodily concept. So that means all these three personalities, when they act like this, apisetu duracharo bhajante mam, ananya bhak sadreva samantavya samyak vyavasthiti isa. Krishna says, even my devotees, if they are durachar, if they behave like a durachar, they should be considered as saintly. And here Prabhupada writes that Lord Shiva, he went out of the assembly as a Vaishnava without saying. So now we need to see that from the spiritual point, what do we understand behind these curses? So Daksha actually is cursing Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is called? What is Lord Shiva's meaning, word meaning? Auspicious. So if we say I am cursing all auspicious, what does that mean? It becomes inauspicious, right? So, and all auspicious cannot be touched by inauspicious. Like Supreme Person God, like even Parikshit. Parikshit could have counteracted the curse. It was possible for him. So here it cannot be inauspicious, it must be auspicious. So indirectly enlightening what is all auspicious and essential to be avoided for perfection of human life to achieve the ultimate goal, back to Godhead. So we'll take one example, practical example, one of our 4 regulative principles to understand this. It is there. See, cigarette everybody knows. The company warn the ill effects of smoking to save the good health when common sense fails, right? When common sense fails, they put all, it's there, whatever they put is there. But similarly this chapter, the curse actually is indirect warnings on the causes of eternal bondage in the material world. You see, we will take some curses now here which they mentioned. If we see each and every curse which they addressed, all of these 3, they are nothing but how a living entity when he comes to this material world will remain eternal here. How he will not be able to go out of this. This simply they are enlightening an indirect way. Like sometimes if you say you don't smoke, they will not listen. But instead of telling you don't smoke, if you give the least by smoking who all went back to Godhead, how they are, then they will understand, oh, this is something really bad, something, they will understand in indirect way. So now we will look into it. So now today's class, balanced time, we will look into how the Srimad Bhagavatam, the curses which has been delivered here, what are the true objects in our sadhana bhakti? What is the true actually objectives in our sadhana bhakti? So the first curse is actually by Daksha. He says, the demigods are eligible to share in the oblations of sacrifice, but Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of all demigods, should not have a share. First of all, the question is whether Lord Shiva wants a share. What Krishna says in 7th chapter, Kamestir Teis Vrita Jnana Prapadyant Anna Devata Tamtam Evati Kaunteya? No. Kamestir. That what anyway? There is 2 verses. Yeah. So what Krishna says there, even though one worships demigod from some material benefit, that material benefit is awarded by me. This is the translation, right? Correct or no? Correct. So that means by this yajna, the share of the yajna, does Lord Shiva want to award his devotees? Actually comes from who? Comes from Krishna. So Lord Shiva is depending on who? Is it depending on the who are doing perform the yajna to get the share, or is depending on Krishna to give that benefit, or Krishna gives that benefit to the Lord Shiva? Any confusion? No. So now the question comes then, Daksha being a leader of the progenerator, who has to set a good example for his descendants, what is the importance of his curse saying that Lord Shiva should not have a share? Right? He has to set an example by, if I say a word here, I am accountable for that word. So if Daksha is expressing a word, Daksha is responsible to justify why that word has been spoken. So what is the importance of this curse which is saying that Lord Shiva should not have a share? So let's discuss a little bit. So who says about this share? I'm not talking the market share, I'm talking the yajna share. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, he says, because of the time, the demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you. Lord Shiva was said, what was the best among the demigods, we said? The demigods being pleased by sacrifice will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods prosperity will reign for all. So what is the Daksha being a leader of progenitors for his descendant? Does he want his descendants to enjoy prosperity or no? Like the parents, they want their children to be happy and prosper or no? They want. So they will do everything. So thus Daksha's curse has got a meaning. So here Krishna says that sacrifice, one must perform sacrifices, and he says that by cooperation between men and demigods prosperity will reign. Then Krishna says next, in charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. Doubt, Venkateswara going? So what Krishna says, the demigods, if that sacrifice, the share is not offered to the demigods, is certainly a thief. Who is certifying this? Why Krishna is certified? Thief means, thief. In our social life, if somebody says thief to us, how grave it is to feel it. So why Krishna? If Krishna says that thief, it means it is not an ordinary word. It's a very serious word. So what is that seriousness? Thief means negating the conscience of the Lord, the Yajnapati, the owner. Now if Krishna has to use this word thief, that means there are certain set principles that this belongs to you, this belongs to you, this belongs to you. Like usually in society, if a father will leave his property to his children, the children can take their own share. They cannot take more than that. So here also we should have, if Krishna is declared as a thief, that means there must be a set principle. And where is that set principles are given? Yes, Hare Krishna, nice. So set principles are there. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside his quota. And one should not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong. See, this verse we heard many times, we come across, but I'll give one small example of this, how grave the meaning of this shloka is, because we may not be able to understand what is this quota is. At the end of the month we get salary, right? All of us we get salary. So what is the quota divided there? For the flat rent, this is the money. For the supermarket, this is the school fees, this is the one. For that, this one, for this one. If you don't allow that quota, like you don't pay the flat rent, what will happen? You just imagine in our social life, if the quota which is supposed to go from us, if it doesn't go, what is our situation? Then, according to the God's law, material nature, if that quota doesn't go out of us, where we will stand, we will be thief only. This is what Krishna is declaring. We will be thief. Because everything is given by Krishna, owned by Krishna, and we need to follow what he says. If you don't follow, we are becoming thief. So Daksha, in a curse showing that, yes, his descendant, we should not become thieves. That is why he is telling, the share is giving that indirect meaning that his descendants should not become thieves. That is the meaning. So here, Krishna then Krishna says acts of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity and penance purify even the great souls. So this is the spiritual essence of Daksha's curse for us to understand. Daksha, being leader of the Prajapati, is aware of the principles of performing sacrifice and charity as per Vedic injunctions. Otherwise, fear of grave consequence. Anybody can remember any grave consequence because of not offering the sacrifice to the demigods? In Bhagavatam? Hare Krishna. Kirtan Prabhu hit it. So Krishna saying here, Sri Krishna said to himself, not anybody, because we have stopped the sacrifice, Indra has caused these universal fears, unseasonable rain together and terrible winds and hail. Krishna is saying to himself. Now, is this logic? Is there any logic? Is there any logic behind demigods are demanding sacrifice? If not, they give trouble. Is there any logic behind it? Yes, no? No. How many are no? Very good. How many are no? I am not saying good means that's the right answer. How many ever say? What is the 7 miseries in this world? Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmik, 3. Then Janmriti Jaravadi. What is Adi Daivik, Adi Adhyatmik, and Adi Bhautik? So Adi Bhautik or Adi Daivik, what are that? Adi Daivik, what does that mean? That is inbuilt in this material world. So if you don't please them, that miseries will automatically come. So it's logic. Krishna is not saying wrong, Daksha is not saying wrong. But ultimately as devotees, what do we know? If you water the root of the tree, where the water will go? Ultimately the sacrifice, the share we give to Krishna, everybody is satisfied. So that is the first curse. Now let's go to Nandishwara. So Nandishwara is saying anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because envy is less intelligent and because of visualizing will be bereft of transcendental knowledge. Now I have to go fast. So he says bereft of transcendental knowledge. Do we need first of all transcendental knowledge? Why we need transcendental knowledge? The material knowledge is not enough for us. Do we need? Many will not believe in transcendental knowledge only. Forget about whether we need. What is transcendental knowledge supposed to be? Material knowledge will create bondage, problem. So transcendental knowledge will create liberation. So where Krishna says, Krishna gives example for transcendental. Many of the class I quote this example. There are 2 examples Krishna gives about transcendental knowledge. Because we can't go very deep in it, but I'll just go touch it. What are the 2 examples Krishna gives? First of all, transcendental knowledge. We said the ultimate end of the transcendental knowledge, if somebody asks, it should transform him to transcendental again. From the bodily concept, it has to bring him to spiritual platform. So we are understanding the spiritual point. So Krishna gives 2 examples. The 2 examples are, one is boat and one is fire. If confused, it's here. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over ocean of miseries. From Bhuloka to Goloka we have to cross, we need a boat. And that boat is transcendental knowledge. Now who is cursing this that you will not have transcendental knowledge? Nandishwar, follower of Lord Shiva, Param Vaishnav. And then he says, as a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes, all reactions to material activity. Because as long as we have sinful reaction, we will not be able to go to spiritual world. So Krishna gives this transcendental example of a fire. Like fire burn all the firewood, the same way this transcendental knowledge also burn all the reactions to material activity. Does we need this with our knowledge or no? We need this. So by Nandishwara cursing this, what is implying it? As long as we don't develop transcendental knowledge, come to the transcendental form, there is no way to go from this miserable condition. So what is the essence? One must serve Mukunda in transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, one will never be able to burn sinful reactions, cross the ocean of birth and death. There is no back to Godhead if there is no transcendental knowledge. That is why always Srila Prabhupada gave importance to his books and reading his books. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the curse number 2 of Nandishwara. He says, Daksha has accepted the body as all in all. Therefore, since he has forgotten the Vishnu Pada or Vishnu Gati and is attached to sex life only, within a short time he will have the face of a goat. So actually here, what is the importance? He has forgotten the Vishnu Gati. So Nandishwara, see, who is his Lord? Nandi's Lord. Nandishwara's Lord. Who is his Lord? Lord Shiva. But who, when he is cursing, who is talking? He is talking about who? Vishnu Pada. Vishnu Gati. Namahom Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Prestaya. Bhutal Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So Vishnu Pada is there. So Nandishwara is actually given the importance of Vishnu Pada, Vishnu Gati. So here we see that Prahlad Maharaj is saying that persons who are strongly entrapped by the conscience of enjoying material life cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. Now demigods, they are praying to in the mother, when Krishna was in the mother Devaki's womb, they say, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, one can cross the ocean of nations as easily as one steps over the hoof print of a calf. So here Nandishwara's second message, Vishnu Pada, is referring to the living entities being conditioned in this material world. If they don't take Vishnu Pada, the lotus feet of Lord, worship of lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So the essence, spiritual essence of second curse is one's own interest is to Vishnu Pada, otherwise one will degrade to animalistic species. And that curse, he said, Daksha should get a goat's head. So this is what? If we don't surrender to Krishna, if we don't take up Krishna consciousness, it is guaranteed that one will go to animalistic life. Practical, Daksha's example. Curse number 3. Those who have become as dull as matter by cultivating materialistic education and intelligence are nesciently involved in futile activities, such men have purposely inserted Lord Shiva. May they continue in the cycle of birth and death. What is Prabhupada's slogan? Back to Godhead. And what the curse here is? May they continue in the cycle of birth and death. So actually Lord Shri Krishna, when he declares what is knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, what he declares, he says a very beautiful verse here. Indriyarteshu vairagyam anahankare vacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha darshanam. Prabhupada actually, when he translates, he put a word there. He says, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease. He says perception of the evil. You know, evil is a very, very, very strong, hard word. It is evil. That means one can never come out of the effects of that evil. And Krishna says that, and philosophical search for the absolute truth, all this I declare to be knowledge, and besides whatever there may be is ignorance. So Nandishwara's curse here is that you always continue in a janma mrityu jara vyadhi, means there is no hope for liberation. Whereas we should have all the hope for liberation, and that is God, that can be achieved by surrender to Vishnu Pada. So ignorance of the self and super self is the cause of bondage to material existence, continuation of birth, death, old age and disease. Because Krishna said that is the knowledge. Atato Brahma Jijnasa means that in order to get out of the bodily conception, one has to inquire about Brahman. Ultimately Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. What is that shloka? Starts with? No, there is Hare Krishna, yeah. Vadanti tattva vedas tattvam advayam tattvam jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmiti bhagavan iti shabdati. So that is knowledge actually. Hare Krishna. Now curse number 4. May those who are envious of Lord Shiva being attracted by the flowery language of the enchanting Vedic promises, and who have thus become dull, always remain attached to the fruitful activities. So those who are attached by the flowery language of the Vedas. So this flowery language, now the curse, are we looking at the curse or are we looking at an instruction? Flowery language, that means here, even Nandishwara is telling the Vedas, the word which is spoken, it may not give a direct meaning. Sometimes it looks like a very enchanting, like a flower. So he says, remain attached to the fruit activity. And Krishna very strongly says in 2nd chapter in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avapashyata vedavada rata partha nanya dastiti vadanaha kamatmana swargapara janma karma pala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogeshwara gatim prati. Then he goes bhogeshwaram prasaya, that one, Hare Krishna. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitful activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So in Vedas, now what do we understand from this? When we are attached to this flowery language, or flowery language means the desire for material benefits from the Vedas. If we have, what happens? So by attached to the flowery words of the Vedas with material desires, even the Vedas cannot uplift a conditioned soul to liberated stage unless the purpose of the Vedas known. And what is the purpose of the Vedas? Vedesa sarve aham vedu. Vedant kritveda videha chaham. So here the curse number 4 of Nandishwara is actually declaring that when we come in contact with the Vedas, we should not have material desire. The Vedas are not for material benefit. The Vedas are perfecting the material existence to go back to Godhead. So verse number 5, this is the last we will take from Nandishwara. These Brahmanas take to the education, austerity and vows only for the purpose of maintaining the body. They shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. They will acquire money begging from door to door simply for the satisfaction of the body. See, Nandishwar, what is his form actually? He's a bull, right? He's a bull. Of course, he has got a personal form. His personal form is bull serving Lord Shiva. And if he is talking about his curse, is talking about they shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. Can you imagine in which form of the body, what is talking about? Bull will eat only grass, it will not eat anything else. But he is talking about this who are blaspheming Lord Shiva. Because why? Because Lord Shiva is a Param Vaishnava. We cannot blaspheme Vaishnava. So he is saying they shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. Actually, what is the consequence of not knowing what to eat and what not to eat? What is the consequence? What is the consequence? Huh? I want a one word which Krishna declared. Huh? Somebody said. No, we are all waiting for prasadam, but we should know what is the greatness of the prasadam we are going to eat. What is that one word Krishna? Like earlier, if the yajnas, the share is not offered, what Krishna declared? He's a thief, he declared, right? And we understand why he's a thief. So, yes. Please repeat out loudly. Yajna sistasina santo muchyante sarva kilbishe Bunjate ta agam papa e pachanta atma karanat. Please repeat that. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. So who is speaking this? Krishna is speaking, but Nandi also repeating here. Nandi, the one who is eating only grass, his mind is on what to eat, what not to eat. An animal of course he has got a personal form and is a follower of, this is the mood of the followers of Vaishnavas. So they look from very, now we will have a little summary at the end. We say that it is the curse, but this curse is referring to what? This curse is nothing but breaking the chain of the conditional life. Nothing but that. All this what we read, we'll go to summary. Now we come to Marshinam Bhrugurham. Giramasmi Aksharana Yajnanam Japayasmi Stavaranam Himala. So now we'll go to the Bhrugumuni, the Maharshi, the great. What is his curse? Now we spoke about, if you see, there is a hierarchy here. All this curse, there is a hierarchy. From where it started, where it will end. Now you will see, you will be very much happy, blissful when we go out of the room where this curse indirectly ended up. It will end up in the next Ekadashi, Hare Krishna. You will see. So, now, so it's the fifth curse of Nandishwara. If one is not connected with Krishna, even eating only food which is not offered in Yajna, Krishna, Yajna Purusha, is certainly incurring sins, which is cause of all suffering. We think that I am suffering, but the suffering is because of the sin, and sin is because we are not offered what we eat to Krishna. That is the root cause. Now we come to the curse by Bhrugumuni. So he says, Bhava Vrutha Dhara Echa Tan Samanu Vrutaha Pashandinaste Bhavantu Shastra Paripantinaha. One who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from the transcendental scriptural injunctions. So what is Bhrugu? What is cursing to be? He says, such will certainly become an atheist. And who is an atheist? Yeah, we'll see from Caitanya Mahaprabhu is better. Because he gave the strongest statement, condemnation of the atheist. So he says, Yehi Muda Kahe Jiva Ishwar Haya Shama Seita Pashandi Haya Dande Tara Yama. A foolish person who says that the Supreme Person Godhead is the same as the living entity is an atheist. And he becomes subject to punishment by the superintendent of the death, Yamaraja. Now see this statement. Who says that Supreme Personal Godhead is the same as the living entity is an atheist. Nandishwara, did he tell to worship Lord Shiva or did he tell to worship Lord Vishnu? Vishnu. He took the highest platform. So here who is an atheist then? To bring the living entity in level with the Supreme Lord. Now what happens? What is the consequence? What is the problem? By bringing that, that problem is actually, as I said, it will end up where the root cause of our liberation, it will cut that only. It will cut the root where we are supposed to grow in our bhakti. So it says here, the second offense of the holy name, Shivasya Shri Vishnu Ryahiya Guna Namadi Sakalam Diya Bhinnam Pashyetsa Khalu Hari Nama Hita Karaha. One will get no benefit from Harinama. Harinama Hahita Kara by considering the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. We recite every Mangalarti. So Bhrugumani now where he addressed? He addressed to the Supreme Lord and his holy name. So now we will go to the first this essence of this. If one does not understand the supremacy of the personality of Godhead Krishna as a person, he is an atheist and destined to be suffering in hell. He does not get any benefit from the holy name. So now we will come to the conclusion. First, whose curse was there? Daksha. So Daksha's curse was about being leader's Prajapati. What was his curse about? Yeah, he is talking about the sacrifice and charity, giving the charity. So Srila Prabhupada, what he made for us? Sacrifice and charity. What is the sacrifice we are supposed to perform? Sankirtana Yajna we are supposed to perform, because ultimately it is Yajna Purusha, you see. And charity, see, because I also served many years in the management committee, we have come across certain devotees, we are not discouraging them, come to the temple, take all the benefit, but they will never give a single fills to the temple. I said the quota, Ishavasham Shloka, they will never give. Of course, Krishna doesn't need. Krishna doesn't need. But who needs it? In this curses we see, who needs it? We need it. It's for our benefit. It's for our benefit. So Srila Prabhupada made the temple in such a way that people can actually give charity for a Krishna conscious activity. And then Nandishwara, being follower of Lord Shiva. So being follower of Lord Shiva, what did he actually set an example? Worship of Vishnu. Krishna conscious. Prabhupada's movement is Krishna consciousness. Then ignorance of the self and super self is the cause of bondage. So what was Prabhupada's slogan? Back to Godhead. Free from birth and death, free from any bondage. Then even Vedas cannot afflict a conditioned soul with the material desires. So what was Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita name? Bhagavad Gita as it is. Because Bhagavad Gita as it is, why that knowledge is given? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharana. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to surrender to Krishna. So here Vedas cannot apply conditional if they have material desire. That means separate from Krishna's enjoyment. Then eating food offered in yajna. Of course all of us we understand this. Prabhupada made that very strict. Then transcendental knowledge. So transcendental knowledge, what are the two examples we gave? Why so much emphasis on transcendental knowledge? Two examples we gave. What was that example? Boat and the fire. We must travel from Bhuloka to Goloka. We need a boat. We cannot go with our weight which we carrying in our shoulder. It's very heavy. So it has to be burned. So this knowledge can burn that weight. And then Vishnupada. One must surrender to Vishnupada. Then Bhrigu says supremacy of the personal God Krishna and his holy name. So Bhrigu, he hit the, see it starts from where? From actual sacrifice, from the yajna, it gradually goes, see cause of bondage, conditions of material desire, yajna, knowledge, Vishnupada, and ultimately the supreme personal Lord Shri Krishna. And Krishna, we can worship Krishna by chanting his holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this chapter, Daksha curses Lord Shiva. Externally it may be full of curses. By great personality delivering on another, actually they are bringing the poison out of the conditioned living entity. They are bringing, because this poison with us, even when we actually in our materialistic activity, when we get agitated, we also curse. But actually what the curse should lead to, even if you're cursing, the curse should lead to his liberation, not lead to his conditioned life. This is the meaning of this chapter. This whole chapter is actually focused on how the living entity can be liberated by understanding this intricacies of this material world. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai, Gurudev ki, Jai. Any questions, any doubts? It's 9 o'clock exactly. Any suggestions, any corrections, all are welcome. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai, Gurudev ki. ISKCON Balaramdesh Bhaktivedanta ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. So when we get something, some blessings from someone or some gift from someone, we try to analyze it, how value it is, what is the value of it, isn't it? But even when we are getting curse from someone, we need to analyze it. So what are the benefits of getting curse also? So we always say that now getting blasphemy even from the Vaishnavas, it will be helpful for us. So Prabhuji has nicely analyzed the curses and how it will help. So don't take it from any management devotees or anything. Somehow or other, sometimes if they say something, please don't take it in the other way. It's all everything for our benefit of our spiritual progress. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we would like to thank Prabhu by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.